Imagine for a moment that your life is a chaotic room. It's cluttered, disorganized, and overwhelming. You can barely navigate it, let alone thrive in it. But here's the thing, that room is your responsibility. It's yours to clean, to organize, and to transform into a place where you can live with purpose and direction. The first step to changing your life is to stop lying to yourselves. Stop pretending that everything is fine when it isn't. Acknowledge the mess. Be brutally honest about where you are and what's wrong. If you can't do that, you can't move forward. Truth is your foundation. It's the cornerstone of any transformation. Now, once you face the truth, you have to decide, who are you and who do you want to be? Not in some grandiose, abstract way, but practically. What does a better version of you look like? Start small. Imagine what your life would look like if you got just one thing under control: your health, your finances, your relationships. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for progress. Responsibility is not a burden. It's the path to meaning. Every time you take responsibility for something in your life, you take back control of it. If your job is unfulfilling, ask yourself what you can do to improve it. If your relationships are strained, consider what you might be doing to contribute to the problem. It's not about blaming yourself, it's about empowering yourself. And here's the hard truth: it's going to be uncomfortable. Growth is painful. Change requires sacrifice. You have to give up the things that are holding you back, even if they're comforting or familiar. Maybe it's a toxic habit. Maybe it's a way of thinking that keeps you stuck. Whatever it is, let it go. Replace it with something better. Order your world. Start with what's in front of you. Clean your room, not just literally, but figuratively. Sort out the areas of your life that are within your control. When you do, you'll find that your world starts to make more sense. You'll be less overwhelmed and more capable of tackling bigger challenges. Learn to bear your suffering. Life is hard, but you're stronger than you think. Stop running from discomfort. Face it, learn from it. Use it as fuel to grow. When you confront your pain and work through it, you become more resilient. You discover that you're capable of much more than you ever thought possible. Finally, aim higher. Set goals that are just out of reach. Push yourself to be better, not because anyone else expects it, but because you owe it to yourself. Imagine the kind of life you could have if you truly committed to becoming the best version of yourself. Change doesn't happen overnight, and it's not supposed to. It's a process, a long, often difficult process, but it's worth it. Because every small step you take toward order, truth, and responsibility is a step toward a better, more meaningful life. And remember, it's not just about you. When you change your life, you make the world around you a little better too. You become an example of what's possible. You inspire others to rise above their struggles and create order out of chaos. So start today. Acknowledging the chaos in your life is an essential first step toward transformation, and it begins with an honest confrontation of your current reality. Many people live in a state of denial, ignoring the clutter in their lives, whether it's physical, emotional, or psychological. They tell themselves that things are fine when deep down they know that isn't true. This avoidance provides temporary relief, but perpetuates a cycle of stagnation and dissatisfaction. To break free from this, you must be willing to look directly at the mess, no matter how daunting it may seem. Facing the chaos requires courage because it often brings discomfort. It means admitting that you've made mistakes, that you've neglected certain aspects of your life, or that you've allowed external circumstances to dictate your path. This realization can feel overwhelming, even painful, because it challenges the narratives you've built to protect yourself. However, it's only by recognizing the problem that you gain the power to address it. You cannot fix what you refuse to acknowledge. This process starts with small, specific observations. Look around you at your environment, your habits, and your relationships. Is your living space organized, Or is it a reflection of inner disorder? Are your daily routines helping you grow? Or are they filled with procrastination and avoidance? Are your interactions with others meaningful, or are they strained by unresolved conflicts? These questions, though uncomfortable, provide clarity. They allow you to identify areas that need attention. Acknowledging chaos is not about self-blame or criticism. It's about taking stock of your life with objectivity and compassion. Blaming yourself excessively can paralyze you, while ignoring your role in your situation prevents progress. Striking a balance is key. Accept that while external factors may have contributed to your challenges, you have the power to respond and make changes. This mindset shifts you from being a passive victim of circumstances to an active participant in your own life. It's important to approach this step incrementally. Chaos can feel overwhelming when viewed in its entirety, so break it down into manageable parts. For instance, if your financial situation is causing stress, start by organizing your expenses and setting a small, achievable savings goal. If your relationships are strained, choose one person to reconnect with or resolve a misunderstanding. Small victories build momentum and confidence, making larger challenges feel more approachable. Acknowledging chaos also requires patience with yourself. Change doesn't happen overnight, and setbacks are inevitable. The key is to remain committed to the process even when progress feels slow. Each step you take toward clarity and order is a step away from the confusion and frustration that once held you back. Ultimately, recognizing the chaos in your life is an act of responsibility and self-respect. It's a declaration that you are capable of facing reality and making it better. This initial step, while challenging, lays the foundation for meaningful growth. By confronting the truth about your situation, you open the door to transformation and set the stage for a life of purpose, order, and fulfillment. Defining your future self is an act of vision and intention. It requires you to imagine with clarity and specificity who you want to become and what kind of life you want to lead. This process is not about indulging in grand fantasies or setting unreachable goals. It's about creating a practical and meaningful picture of an improved version of yourself. To do this, you need to move beyond vague aspirations like I want to be successful or I want to be happy, and instead focus on actionable, tangible changes you can make in your life. Start by taking a step back and honestly assessing who you are right now. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Which parts of your life are working well? And which ones feel stagnant or unfulfilling? This self-reflection isn't about judgment, it's about understanding. The more honest you are with yourself, the clearer your starting point becomes. Once you know where you are, you can begin to define where you want to go. Think about the areas of your life that matter most to you: your career, relationships, health, personal growth, or creative pursuits. What does a better version of each look like? For example, if your career feels unsatisfying, envision a role where you feel challenged and valued. If your relationships are strained, imagine what it would feel like to have deeper connections built on trust and mutual respect. These visions don't need to be extravagant, they need to feel attainable and meaningful to you. Clarity is essential. Vague goals lead to vague results. If you want to improve your health, for instance, don't just say, I want to be healthier. Define what that means: eating more vegetables, exercising 3 times a week, or sleeping 8 hours a night. The more specific you are, the easier it becomes to create a plan and measure progress. Break your vision into smaller, actionable steps that you can implement in your daily life. This way, the daunting task of transformation becomes manageable. As you define your future self, consider your values and priorities. What truly matters to you? What kind of person do you want to be? Align your goals with these deeper principles so that your efforts feel authentic and fulfilling. A life that reflects your core values is one that feels purposeful and meaningful. Defining your future self also involves acknowledging that change takes time. Growth is not a straight line, and setbacks are part of the process. Don't let the fear of failure prevent you from starting. Instead, view each challenge as an opportunity to learn and adapt. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Each small step forward, no matter how modest, moves you closer to the person you want to become. When you commit to defining your future self, you give yourself direction and focus. Life becomes less about reacting to circumstances and more about creating opportunities. You begin to see yourself not as a passive participant in your story, but as its author, capable of shaping the narrative in ways that lead to growth, fulfillment, and meaning. Embracing responsibility is a transformative act that shifts your perspective on life and empowers you to take control of your circumstances. It begins with the recognition that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond to it. Responsibility is not a burden to avoid, it is an opportunity to shape your reality and create meaning in your life. Taking responsibility means owning your actions, choices, and the outcomes they produce, even when doing so feels uncomfortable or difficult. Many people shy away from responsibility because it feels overwhelming or unfair. It's tempting to blame external factors, other people, societal structures, or sheer bad luck for the challenges you face. While external influences are real and can be significant, dwelling on them leaves you powerless. Shifting your focus to what you can control changes everything. It gives you agency and the ability to make a difference, no matter how small your initial steps may be. Responsibility is not about accepting blame for everything, but about understanding that your actions and attitudes play a central role in shaping your lot. When you take responsibility, you begin to see opportunities for growth in every situation. Consider the challenges in your life: a strained relationship, a stagnant career, or an unhealthy lifestyle. These are areas where you can make a difference. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I do to make this better?" This shift in perspective turns obstacles into opportunities for growth. It allows you to take proactive steps toward improvement, whether it's having an honest conversation, acquiring new skills, or making healthier choices. Responsibility also fosters self-respect and confidence. When you acknowledge your role in shaping your life, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstances. You begin to see yourself as capable and resourceful. Each time you take ownership of a problem and work to resolve it, you reinforce your belief in your ability to handle challenges. This builds resilience, which is essential for navigating life's inevitable difficulties. It's important to start small. Responsibility doesn't mean you have to fix everything at once. Begin with what's immediately within your control. If your living space is chaotic, take responsibility for tidying it. If your schedule feels overwhelming, take responsibility for organizing it. These small acts of ownership create a ripple effect, gradually improving other areas of your life. Over time, you'll find that taking responsibility becomes a habit, one that enhances your ability to tackle larger and more complex challenges. Responsibility is also deeply connected to meaning. When you take responsibility for your life, you give it purpose. You begin to see your efforts as contributing to something greater than yourself, whether it's improving your family, your community, or your world. This sense of contribution makes life richer and more fulfilling. It transforms ordinary tasks into acts of significance, reinforcing the idea that your choices matter. Ultimately, embracing responsibility is about reclaiming your power. It's a declaration that you are not at the mercy of circumstances, but are an active participant in your life. By choosing responsibility, you choose growth, resilience, and meaning. You choose to step into your potential and create a life that reflects your values and aspirations. Accepting discomfort as a natural part of growth is a fundamental mindset for personal transformation. Many people shy away from change because it often brings discomfort, uncertainty, and even pain. However, growth and comfort rarely coexist. To improve your life and become a better version of yourself, you must be willing to endure the challenges that come with leaving behind the familiar and venturing into the unknown. This is not a punishment, it is the cost of progress and a necessary step on the path to fulfillment. Discomfort often arises when you confront aspects of your life that need improvement. Perhaps you've developed unhealthy habits, avoided difficult conversations, or neglected areas of responsibility. Facing these realities is rarely easy. It requires humility to admit where you've fallen short and courage to take action. However, this initial unease is temporary, and the rewards for pushing through it far outweigh the costs. The discomfort you feel is not a sign of failure, but a signal that you are stretching yourself, stepping out of old patterns, and laying the groundwork for growth. Letting go of the familiar is one of the most challenging aspects of embracing discomfort. Familiarity feels safe even when it holds you back. A toxic habit, an unproductive mindset, or even a harmful relationship can feel strangely comforting simply because it's known. But clinging to the familiar limits your potential. It keeps you in a stagnant state, preventing you from exploring new possibilities. To grow, you must have the courage to let go of what no longer serves you and make room for something better. The process of change often involves failure, and failure itself is uncomfortable. You may set a goal and fall short, or attempt a new habit and struggle to maintain it. These moments can be frustrating and disheartening, but they are an essential part of growth. Failure is not a reflection of your worth. It is feedback. It shows you what isn't working and provides an opportunity to adjust your approach. The discomfort of failure becomes a stepping stone when you use it as a learning experience. Each setback makes you stronger, more resilient, and better prepared for future challenges. To navigate discomfort effectively, you need to reframe how you perceive it. Instead of viewing discomfort as something to avoid, see it as evidence that you're making progress. When you feel challenged or stretched, remind yourself that this is part of the process. Growth often feels awkward or even painful because it involves stepping into territory. But with every uncomfortable step, you are expanding your capacity, building new skills, and becoming more capable of handling life's complexities. It's important to approach discomfort with patience and persistence. Change doesn't happen overnight, and significant growth takes time. By committing to the process and allowing yourself to endure the temporary discomfort, you set the stage for long-term rewards. Each time you push through the unease, you strengthen your ability to face future challenges with greater confidence and resilience. Ultimately, discomfort is a sign that you are alive, learning, and evolving. It is the price you pay for a life that is rich in meaning and achievement. By accepting discomfort as a natural and necessary part of growth, you empower yourself to overcome obstacles, embrace change, and create a life that reflects your highest potential. Establishing order in your life is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward creating stability, clarity, and purpose. Chaos often surrounds us, both externally in our environment and internally in our thoughts and emotions. It can feel overwhelming, leaving us unsure of where to start or how to move forward. Yet order is the antidote to chaos. By bringing structure and organization to your world, you create a foundation upon which growth and progress can thrive. The process begins with taking control of what is immediately within your reach. Often, when people feel overwhelmed by life, it's because they're trying to address everything at once. This approach is paralyzing. Instead, focus on the small, manageable areas of your life that you can influence today. For instance, your physical environment is a direct reflection of your mental state. If your living or workspace is cluttered, start there. Clean your room, organize your desk, or tidy up your kitchen. These acts may seem insignificant, but they have a profound psychological impact. A clean, orderly space creates a sense of calm and control, which radiates outward into other aspects of your life. Order is not just about physical tidiness, it's about structuring your time, habits, and priorities. Without a clear plan, life can feel directionless, like drifting aimlessly in a sea of tasks and obligations. Start by setting a daily routine. Decide when you will wake up, when you will work, and when you will rest. Incorporate time for self-care, reflection, and personal growth. A consistent routine not only increases productivity, but also reduces stress by eliminating the constant need to make decisions on the fly. Creating order also involves clarifying your priorities. What truly matters to you? What are the most important tasks or goals you need to focus on? When you fail to prioritize, you often spend your energy on things that are urgent but not important. This leads to a sense of busyness without accomplishment. By identifying what matters most and allocating your time accordingly, you ensure that your efforts align with your values and long-term aspirations. It's important to recognize that order is not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing process. Life is dynamic and chaos will inevitably creep back in. When it does, don't be discouraged. Instead, see it as an opportunity to reestablish control and refine your systems. Periodically assess your routines, habits, and environment to ensure they continue to support your goals. Establishing order also requires discipline and commitment. It's easy to let things slide, especially when you're tired or stressed. But discipline is the bridge between intention and action. By consistently making the effort to maintain order, you build a habit that becomes second nature over time. Each small act of organization strengthens your ability to handle larger challenges. Ultimately, order brings clarity and peace of mind. It frees you from the mental clutter that chaos creates, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. It creates a sense of stability and control that empowers you to face life's uncertainties with confidence. By establishing order, you lay the groundwork for a life that is purposeful, productive, and deeply fulfilling.